Corona Cigar Company is your one-stop shop for all your cigar needs. Whether that's a brand new humidor, a box of those new cigars you've been waiting for, a top-of-the-line cutter or lighter, a place to enjoy the finest cigars and spirits with friends, or the only cigars grown right here in the Sunshine State, we've got you covered. Come visit one of our retail locations for the ultimate cigar experience. Visit us online at coronacigar.com.
How about that cigar?
Well, how about that cigar?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Corona Cigar Studios for episode 308 of How About That Cigar Live. Thank you so much for joining us live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and live on
Rumble.
And if you're listening after the fact on the audio podcast, thank you guys so much for listening to How About That Cigar when you drive down the road, when you work out, whatever it is you do. When you listen to your favorite audio podcasts, we appreciate that you made us a part of it. Take just a minute, if you would, please. Click on all the big, beautiful buttons, the like button, the follow button, the subscribe button, and share us out right now on Facebook and YouTube with your favorite Facebook cigar groups. So everybody knows we're live.
Not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow.
Right now.
Right now, because we're live.
Oh, we are?
Right now.
Oh,
unless
what?
You're watching after the fact.
Oh, or on the audio podcast.
Yes.
Yep.
Or if you're in an alternate universe.
Ooh, I'm kind of there all the time.
I might be distracted tonight. That is 100% true.
Why is that?
But before we get into that,
okay.
You may notice that Justin is not standing in front of that big, beautiful tobacco field that he normally
No,
does.
it burned down.
It did.
Yeah, it burned down. We're going to get insurance and, crop's gone. So.
And you're thinking, well, where the hell is Raul? Raul is in a secret remote location. Let's bring him on right now.
Where is Raul? Where in the world is Raul the Leaf Gypsy?
Hello.
What's up, brother?
How you guys doing today?
It's 30 degrees. So that's how we're doing.
Yeah. What's the weather like over there? Where are you anyway?
It's minus something or other. It's really cold.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna do it outside and smoke a cigar, but I went outside and said, "Fuck no, it's cold."
You're not banging Bambi, are you?
I am trying to find Bambi and his mother and his dad and everybody else.
Okay.
So, Raul, your Jets won another game.
Yes, watch out. They're on a streak now.
Oh, yeah, they're on a streak.
Watch out.
So they're going to take the division then, right?
No, division's
okay.
pretty. I'm just happy if they go 500. As long as they go 500, the Vikings look like shit.
Vikings lost again.
And they look like shit doing it this time.
They look pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a big surprise. Green Bay and Philly are playing right now, and this has been a big build-up game. I mean, this is one of those games. I did not expect this. There's 31 seconds left in the first half, and there's 0-0 on the scoreboard. So Green Bay is driving. Green Bay appears to be in field goal range, and a Green Bay player is limping off the field right now. So that's just add that to the list of guys who are hurt on the Green Bay roster.
So is it excellent defense or shitty offense?
Yes. We were talking with our special guest before we went live. It's both by both teams, actually. And the Minnesota Wild are kind of improving, but they're still pretty bad. And the Timberwolves still look They look okay. They look all right, but sort of mediocre-ish. So there, yeah, and Jordan Love Jordan Love got sacked, and I think he lost the football, and I think Philly recovered, but who knows? I need to stop paying attention to this game because we got a show to do.
Yeah.
And so for
what's the Spirit of Mystery?
Well, that's the thing.
We would like to know. We couldn't figure it out.
Spirit of Mystery, brought to us by Postania Cigars. Do you find yourself unsatisfied with the top 10 list from How About That Cigar? Are you wondering how cigars from Postania didn't make the HBTC list but found their way onto other lists? Well, fortunately, you can be reminded every week with this Postania Cigars advertisement. Postania Cigars, the #1 unranked cigar in the industry. So, since you were here, Raul, I have had this sampler bottle that somebody gave me sitting on that table back there for at least a year, if not more. And I cannot for the life of me remember what it is. I do remember that Dax gave it to me, but I don't remember what's in this bottle.
It's a dirty butthole. If Dax gave it to you.
Okay.
That's when you get butter and then you pour bourbon in the butter and you let it sit and then you pull it out. It's a different name, but I call it a dirty butthole.
We may not find out at all what this Spirit of Mystery is. If Dax is watching, if somebody wants to tag him in the comments, so we can maybe find out what this is, because he probably remembers what he put in this bottle. But it smells like a bourbon. Smells really good, actually. Smells decently
butter,
mid-high proof. No, it doesn't smell like a butter wash or a fat wash.
Butter wash, okay,
like that.
That's what I was thinking, a butter wash.
All right, here's a little taste.
Yum, 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 yum.
Oh, that's real. Yeah, that's not a wash bourbon. That's just a
straight bourbon,
straight pour. It's got really nice. It's a little hot. It's I'm gonna say 114-ish, something like that. But
we're gonna have to take your word on that one.
You got to take my word. But flavor is really good. Aroma is actually kind of mild, but the flavor is super intense. A lot of great yumminess on this Spirit of Mystery. Hopefully, I may have an idea at least about the brands, but not the specific bottle. But
Old Forester?
I just don't remember. No, I just don't remember specifically. But like I said, if somebody wants to tag Dax in the comments, so we can try to figure out what we have going here. But I think it is definitely time that we bring on our special guest of the evening, and special guests on How About That Cigar Live are brought to us by Drew Estate. And Drew Estate just unveiled the Nica Rustica Shade. Shade is the third Nica Rustica expression, joining the original broadleaf and the Adobe. Nica Rustica Shade spotlights the Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, Mexican binder leaf, and a balanced blend of Nicaraguan, American, and Dominican fillers. Available in a 4.5 by 50 short Robusto, 6 by 50 Toro, and 5 by 66 Gordo. The Nica Rustica Shade is available now. For more information, please visit drewestate.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please put your hands together and welcome to episode 308 of How About That Cigar Live from Corona Cigar Company, Jeff Borysiewicz. Brother, welcome back to the show. Oh, I think we got you muted, Jeff. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I said 308 episodes. I'm feeling old.
You and me both, brother. You and me both.
Thanks
Good evening, sir.
On.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing tonight?
We're chilling, and when we say chilling, we're taking that literally, man. It's a little chilly out here in Florida. I bundled up. I'm outside. I got a little fire going, so I'm good. I got a dog on the lap, keeping my leg warm, and smoking a nice cigar.
Hey,
when you say it's chilly, what are we talking here?
We're in the 50s, but I just checked. We're supposed to get down to like 38 or 39 tonight. Hopefully, they're a little off on that number because it's getting a little bit cold. We got tobacco in the ground at the farm, and we haven't even harvested really one leaf. We pulled a few leaves off for the barn smoker for people to see how we sow it. But literally, if we get a frost right now, we're going to lose everything. So hopefully, I don't think we're going to get a frost though, from what I can tell. But it's awfully early.
Yeah,
awfully early to have this cold weather in Florida. And last time that I remember where we were getting this cold in the beginning of November, we were having some hard freezes by like the first week of December.
Yeah.
When do you plan on picking those or
well, they're not ready yet.
them?
So next week we should be able to start the first primings on some of the plants. So yeah, we're this one might be a tough winter. We'll see. We never know.
Yeah, I guess Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday up here in Minnesota is supposed to heat up. It's supposed to get 40s and 50s.
Yeah, we might hit 60 on Saturday, which for
that's crazy.
Mid-November in Minnesota that's pretty warm.
Well, that's good news for us, though.
Yeah, hopefully you get some of that warm weather then.
Mm-hmm.
So what's everybody smoking since I can't smoke?
Yeah, Jeff, what do you got fired up this evening?
So I've got the 20 Acre Farm, the 25th anniversary. So it's the Big Bellicoso. It's a 7-inch cigar, and I figured this would be long enough for the show. But I've been puffing on it kind of rapidly because it's a little bit cold, so I might need to walk over there to the table and grab another cigar.
Hey, no worries. So Raul's not able to smoke tonight, but for Justin and I here, I reached in and grabbed from the humidor the Avo XO Legato,
Nice.
and because I know that's a brand that's near and dear to Jeff's heart. And
yeah, I still think about Avo a lot. I have Avo's piano in my house.
I know.
Really? That's
so
cool.
Yeah, his piano's in my house, and there's his one of his white Brioni suits is sitting on the bench there for the piano. So that's cool. He's
That's awesome.
He was a great friend and probably the most one of the most influential people in the cigar business as far as ambassador for cigars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He could talk to it. He could almost make a one of those angry Karens that hate cigars, almost, turn them around where they're ready to fire one up with him. He was so smooth and so good. But that's a good cigar.
Well, I was fortunate. I only got to meet him one time, but I was really fortunate to get to meet him. I think it was the last PCA show that he attended back in 2016. I'm pretty sure, and it was somewhere in the 16, 17, 18, somewhere in that neighborhood. It was only a couple years before he passed, and he was. I mean, he was just so incredibly kind. That's what I remember about him, and an incredibly great sense of humor.
So one of the interesting things about Avo is that, I've been around a lot of people throughout my life, but Avo was the most, you hear people say magnetic personalities, but he truly was. You could be just in a random place, and strangers would walk up to him who don't know who he is, or and just because of the hat and the suit and and his look, and they would just start talking to him they're like, man, do I know you from, are you, something like that type of thing. And he just knew how to embrace that and, spark up conversation that was in just a positive way. So yeah, he was something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Great dude. So it's hard to believe that we're coming to the end of 2025. I mean, honestly, the older I get, every year it just is an absolute blink. So talk us through, Jeff, how has 2025 been for not only Corona Cigar Company, but also Florida Sungrown?
So as far as the Corona Cigar goes, everything's been really good. The industry's kind of flat right now, and in some areas it may actually be a little down in some places, but some of that could be just from overproduction of cigars, and in some of the more price-sensitive markets with the increases in cigar prices and things like that, increases in price to everything, probably had a little effect on it. But for us, we're doing great as a company. Our customers are still, coming and enjoying cigars, so everything's been really good there. Tampa, Sarasota, Orlando, we're fortunate. Had no hurricanes this year. too. So we've been actually in a better spot because of that. The as far as FSG goes, and as far as the tobacco farm goes, we got a crop in the ground right now. It's in an early phase, so early stage. So we'll see how we get through. It's too early to judge. We'll see what happens with the weather.
Yeah.
So hopefully the weather holds out for you and you get this crop through, right? But if you don't, how far back does that set you? What kind of effect does that have on your cigars?
So several years ago, I started doing 2 crops a year instead of 1, so that if I do run into a problem like this, it really only sets us back 6 months, so I can make it up in the spring. Okay. And I learned that lesson a long time ago when we've had so many natural, I don't call them disasters, but you know what I mean, natural problems where, a hailstorm wiped out the whole crop one year. We've had tornadoes come through. We've made mistakes ourselves, or one time we actually had an employee put herbicide in a tank instead of a insecticide, and it killed the plants, and they're only like 2 weeks old. So anyway, we've had things like that happen before. But listen, it's all part of farming. You know that when you get into it, every farmer does. And, you're going to have good years and bad years. So last year was great, and hopefully this year will be great too. But if not, we'll just hit it again in the spring. Because remember, the fortunate part is that it'll set back production of tobacco and, have a little bit shortage of the cigars. But at the end of the day, we'll work through it.
Yeah.
The bigger problem is actually when farmers have catastrophic events in a bankruptcy. That's where it really gets to be problems. For example, like we're talking about cold weather in Florida. When I was a kid, I live in Orange County, right? And it was called Orange County because everything was oranges and citrus around here. And so when you had a bad freeze and it wiped out people's citrus groves, you just don't get it back next year. You got to replant, and that takes 5-6 years before the trees are even productive. So I look at mishaps or bad things on the scale of how bad it is, or how bad could it be. So it's a lot worse for other type of agriculture producers that they could literally end their career where they're bankrupt and got to sell everything.
Yeah.
Speaking about, you got a question? Else not, I'll jump in.
No, go ahead, Raleigh.
Speaking about
Your crops. How'd you like working with Cigar on the Black Angus?
Oh, that was fine. Steve's got his own little personality quirks. He always likes to, say, I don't know if I like the cigar or something like that. And that's just part of his marketing strategy. But I don't want to give away his tricks. But anyway, Steve's easy. Steve is easy. I've known Steve for so long. I remember when he first, actually I knew him before he worked over at Drew Estate. So, with him, he was at the farm and he definitely wanted the thicker leaves. He wanted Ligero. He wanted the top primings because he likes stronger cigars. And then he knows which cigar I like best out of his portfolio. I like the Sin Compromiso. That's more in my wheelhouse. So he kind of knew the direction to take the Black Angus. So it's in that type of flavor spectrum of like a Sin Compromiso with a twist on the blend with the Florida Sun Grown. So it was actually, Steve's actually really easy to work with.
Yeah, it's funny because Steve is not only, he's like you said, he's got his quirks and things like that, but he's also kind of outspoken, even if it gets in trouble sometimes. So he said, we asked him about it, and he's like, oh, that was, he's like, oh, it's the worst project ever because I really don't like that tobacco or whatever. And it's like, but he laughs about it. He's like, but we really managed to turn to get a great blend out of it that people really love.
All right, so that part, that's why I said Steve's easy to work with because he knows what he's doing. So with someone like that, it's you know that Steve's really particular on those blends, right? So you're going to come out with a really good product. So at that part, it actually makes it a lot easier. But I deal with well, I use the word professionals. I mean, I deal with the best of the best on all the cigars that we have done anyway.
Yeah.
So that makes the manufacturing blending part not that hard.
Yeah. And of all the, I mean, I know it's like asking somebody who owns a cigar manufacturing, a brand or something like that, like asking Nick Perdomo or somebody like that, what's your favorite cigar from that you make? So I know it's, but of all the cigars that have had FSG tobacco in them, do you have one that you would call your favorite, or that you lean towards most?
Yeah, 20 Acre Farm.
Okay.
I'm a mild cigar guy.
Yeah.
And so Florida Sun-grown tobacco is not really mild tobacco, but when you can blend it into a milder cigar, it gives it a little bit of zing, a little bit of strength that gives it flavor, but not overpowering. So like the original FSG by Drew Estate too, with that Brasilia. For me, Maduro wrappers tend to tame down some of the stronger blends. So like the FSG, the original with the Brazilian Montefina wrapper, that one I like a lot too, because it's not overpowering. And then we have other cigars that are quite strong, like anything comes out of Aganorsa is a pretty strong cigar, especially like Angel's cigar with the Army of Angel. He likes strong cigars, so that cigar is strong. Same thing with the Intensa, which comes out of Aganorsa. Same thing, pretty powerful cigars. So we try to make, we're making cigars for every flavor profile, but my own personal flavor profile tends to be, if you're using a 1 as the mildest and 10 as the strongest. I'm a guy that likes cigars that are like from a 3 to a 6 and no higher.
Yeah, I think that's
why.
I think that, just real quick, Raleigh, I think that's one of the reasons that I know a lot of guys who, have had a lot of great things to say about the American, and because that one I've of the times that I've smoked it, it really does smoke like a true medium bodied cigar. It's not over the top. It's not weak. It's just it smokes to me like a really nice medium bodied cigar.
All right, so that's an interesting one. So here's the deal: the American uses all American tobacco, right? So it's got broadleaf from Connecticut in the filler, Pennsylvania broadleaf as well in the filler. The wrapper on it is from our farm. So there's really no mild tobaccos in that cigar, but the sizes, the ring gauges make a big difference on that cigar. So if you get like the Lonsdale size or the smaller ring gauge, I actually like those better than the big ring gauge ones, because the percentage of tobacco between the filler and the wrapper on that one, there's more wrapper flavor on the Lonsdale, the smaller ring. So that's the one brand of cigars that I actually like, the 44 or 46 range. Ring better than a 54, because there's the proportion or percentage of wrapper versus the filler on that one is just a little more higher concentration of flavor on the wrapper on that one. So I really like that one. And also, I don't know if you had a chance to smoke the Diamond Crown Tampa. So when Carlito blended that one, that cigar is another one that because Diamond Crown is a milder cigar, right? But when you put the Florida Sun-grown in it, it kind of pumps up the flavor and the strength just a little bit. But it doesn't make it too strong. It's still, for me, it's under that 6 level of strength. So that blend turned out really nice too, where it's got a good flavor but not overpowered. So that one kind of falls in that same wheelhouse of like let's say the 20 Acre Farm type of strength, but just a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
And Jeff, why do you think you have that palate in between 3 and 6? Is it because you smoke so much?
No, I think what it is, some people are more sensitive to nicotine than others. So like if you have a really strong cigar, that it'll just overpower me where I don't start feeling dizzy, right? And that's just too much nicotine that you're absorbing into your body. So I'm more sensitive to it than a lot of other people. Also, whatever you're pairing with the cigar has a big effect on how much that absorbed is. So if you're drinking water versus drinking, let's say, a cafe con leche or something, or a Cuban coffee, you can actually smoke a stronger cigar with that, especially a Cuban coffee where it's got a lot of sugar in it. It'll actually bring your tolerance to those overpowering cigars. You can actually smoke the stronger cigars.
Yeah. Now, I know you've mentioned in the past, maybe not every year, but there have been times that we've talked to you in the past number of years that when talking about, kind of averaging out figures from Corona Cigar, whether it's the brick and mortar locations that you guys have or the internet sales, and they were kind of neck and neck. Is that roughly still the case?
Probably, yeah. But you got to remember, there's five brick and mortars.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And they're big stores.
Yeah.
So they're much larger volume than your normal cigar store. But yeah, we do significant amount of business through both channels. But the good part is that we're really balanced, believe it or not. And another part is we're really balanced within the stores between the liquor sales and the cigar sales. Because sometimes people will have like let's say a cigar bar, not really a cigar store, and they'll be out of whack on their ratios where you don't want to be too high in your liquor and not high enough on your cigars. The majority of our sales in all our stores is cigars, even though we sell a ton of spirits and liquor and everything else. But what drives the number is actual cigars. And let me expand on that. Why that's important is that if you're bringing a lot of numbers in through your cigar side, that means the people that are taking up the seats in your bar are cigar people. You want everybody in there smoking cigars. You don't want people that are coming in to drink that aren't smoking cigars. We don't. Not that there's anything against people that drink that don't smoke cigars. It's just that there's a value to every. In a situation like Corona Cigar, almost every seat's always taken, right? So there's a value to every seat. So if you got somebody that's just drinking and not having a cigar, that's almost half your revenue. That's
you got to be shitting me.
Not smoking a cigar.
Yeah. What's Raul talking about? What is it?
Raul's got a deer that jumped through the window and coming back after him.
Something would happen with my screen. There we go.
Oh.
Nothing. My roommate just turned the TV on, and I told him he's got to be shitting me. It's his place, though, so if you start hearing TV in the background.
Yeah, he can have the TV on. That's fine. And I know that you guys, Jeff, I know you have, you guys are known for having, cigars definitely, but also spirits that are really going to interest people that would call themselves connoisseurs. Just about anything somebody could wish for, from rum to bourbon and scotch. You're gonna have really high end stuff and even rare stuff and even some stuff that's barrel picks just for you guys. So how do you manage the curating of the spirits that are going to be available at your locations?
So we have an abnormally large selection of high-end whiskeys and spirits. I just don't use the term whiskey because originally our single barrel program was just American whiskeys. So whether it's Tennessee whiskey or bourbon or American rye, but now we've had quite a few single barrel tequilas, and not just single barrel, but different cask finish single barrels. So some pretty unique stuff. We've actually got single barrel Irish whiskey from Bushmills. It's incredible. That one flies under the radar, by the way. It's a 12-year Irish whiskey that's aged in tequila barrels in Ireland. And let me tell you, that is an incredible. It's an Irish whiskey that has like a butterscotch finish to it because of the tequila barrels that it's aged in. So we've had a lot of different. We actually have single barrel cognac as well. That I'll put up against it's some of the best cognac in the world. I'd put that one against. It's called Macau, and so we do a lot of single barrel whiskeys, the reason we do that is, number one, when you're smoking a cigar, people always like, wanting the best stuff with it. And we've had a lot back in 2008, before these, the bourbon boom and everything else. We were working really closely with the distilleries when there wasn't a lot of, people on the dance floor looking for partners. Everybody else at that time in the industry, it was dominated by vodkas and, flavored vodkas and things like that. And bourbon hadn't really taken off yet. Single malt scotches were there, but it was kind of an old man's drink at the time. The younger generation just wasn't educated on it. So we were early adapters and promoters of that product. And we had an audience that was really interested in this stuff. So imagine if you're, you can even, we do stuff to a blended too. So let's just say Johnny Walker Blue, or let's say Balvenie or Glenfiddich. Just pick a scotch, whatever.
Yeah.
And same thing with any of the cognacs. If these guys were coming to, let's say, Orlando, right, and you needed to try and develop your brand in the market, well, if you go to any of the nightclubs, or even Pleasure Island or Universal Studios or any of the nightclubs downtown, that is not an audience that's going to listen to your master distiller just flew over from Scotland for a seminar on how to, about their product and about single malt scotch. But we have the guys that do that, right? Our customers want to do that. They want to pair cigars. They want to learn about whiskey. They want to know everything about it. So that's why those companies would spend those resources with Corona Cigar, and we developed, over 15 years, actually going to 18 years, we've developed a great reputation and a customer base that appreciates that. And then also, some of the whiskey societies that we work with, and believe it or not, we actually work with some of the top restaurants like Burns Steakhouse. We did quite a few barrel picks with them, or we'd split them with them. I always like working with chefs that have their, these guys have excellent palates. So we've done a lot of collaborations, even with some of the specialized liquor stores that deal in just, real specialized spirits. Sometimes we'll split a couple barrels with them. So it's been really good, and we'll continue to be leaders in that. And we have, when I say a lot of barrel picks, we probably have 75 different single barrel, Scotch, tequila, Irish whiskey, rye.
Wow.
And so there's a lot. And these are not with Johnny Come Lately brands too. These are established top tier brands that we're talking about. The world leaders of this stuff. So yeah, we're honored. Actually, I was told that we're the number one seller of Macallan in the United States. So
whoa.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned it before, and that's a pretty incredible stat to think about. That of all sellers of Macallan, you guys are the top tier. That's incredible.
So we have but at the same time, we've made a crazy investment in that too. I mean, some of these bottles that we have, we have some bottles that our cost on them is $50,000 for a bottle. And that's not retail either. So you add a few old bottles like that, you're talking real money. So we've made a big investment in that kind of stuff. But I believe in it. That's part of the ultimate cigar experience. That when you come into any of the Corona Cigar locations, that if you really you can be as big of a hitter as you want. If you want to swing for the fences and have some really old whiskey and some really old cigars, like pre-embargo Cubans and stuff, we have it. It's not, it's not one of those things that's designed or meant for, everybody, but super, super special occasions. That's what it's for.
Yeah. Well, and outside of private collectors, you're about the only game in town as far as retailers that still have pre-embargo Cubans available to if somebody wants to buy one.
Yeah, it's because they're so expensive. It's risky. But and our biggest competition from that is a billionaire in China. Yeah, there is a place in Hong Kong, and there's one in China that they have a much larger collection than us.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, they got a lot of money.
Yeah.
So Jeff, for some of us that haven't had the honor or privilege of hitting one of the Corona shops, so you get to sell those specialty bottles off sale too? So if I went in there, okay.
Yeah, because what it is in Florida, in Florida, every state has different liquor laws, right? Because after Prohibition was broke up, the federal government left it up to the states, and then a lot of states left it up to the individual counties. That's why in Tennessee you'll have Jack Daniels is in a dry county because they left it up to the local counties to even decide if they were going to end Prohibition. And that's why you can go to some counties where they don't sell it on Sundays and other ones do and things like that. So every state and county are different. Now in Florida, when you have a bar without a restaurant, which is what we have, you have what's called a 4COP license, which is consumption on premise, and it also is the same license that you would need to have a standalone liquor store. So that's why we can sell bottles to go. But if we sell at a carry-out price, you can't consume it on premise.
Yeah.
Because we're very competitive on our pricing on that. And you go to a bar and they charge you $350 for a $25 bottle of vodka.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that because you got the overhead cost of having that seat and the people taking care of everything. So we don't stick it to people like that, but we're still going to charge you a price as if you're drinking it on premise. We're going to sell you it by the glass price.
Yeah. Now
that's fair.
For us in Minnesota and unfortunately a lot of other states, we're in this situation where there aren't cigar bars. You can't set up a bar and sell whiskeys and cocktails and beer and stuff like that at your cigar shop. But for you guys, I would have to imagine that for us up here, there are brand events pretty regularly even just here in the Twin Cities area, Minneapolis, St. Paul. The cigar shops around here, there'll be brand events scattered, here and there throughout the year. My father will come in and do a brand event or Drew Estate will come in and do a brand event at a local cigar shop. But I would have to imagine for the Corona cigar locations, you can also do the same with spirits and beers and things like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do it all the time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so what happened is that the reason why you can't do those up there is because your state legislator passed rules saying you can't do it.
Right.
And that's why we live in the great state of Florida, the free state of Florida. And that's the benefits of having freedom. And we take it serious. And that's why people like me are heavily involved in politics and protecting that freedom. Because as soon as you turn your back, there are people in the legislature that want to take that right away from you. And so when that movement occurred for the indoor smoking bans, it was through the 80s and the 90s. In Florida, we had the indoor smoking bans too, but cigar stores and bars were exempt. And they left it up to the owner of the establishment. And almost every bar you go into Florida, you're not going to smoke. But that's not by law. That's by choice of the operator.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, this is a smoking environment. We allow cigar smoking. We've never really had a problem having a police cigarette smoking because for us it just doesn't happen because everybody's smoking cigars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people that smoke cigars know that the cigarette smoke interferes with the flavor and aroma of your cigar. So most people are just courteous, and it just doesn't happen. It's never been an issue.
Right.
But being able to have a cigar in your cigar shop or a cigar bar, that's totally based on local politics.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So when you guys, because obviously nobody's going to have a brand event for a brand that you don't already carry. And that's the case for cigars and the case for spirits and beers and things like that. So when one of the brands that are on the shelf or behind the bar in one of your locations or all your locations says, we want to do an in-store event on X date, and so on and so forth. And they go through the details with you. What expectations do you have, and your staff, what expectations do you have? Because we've all, most people listening to and watching this show have been to cigar shops before where they have and I put quotes around this, events that are just duds. So, and I know that you guys don't like going down that road. So what expectations do you give to these brand owners when you give them a green light to come in and do an event at your store?
So I don't give them any expectations.
Okay.
What happens is that we've built a culture and we built an environment where our stores are always busy, right? So what we do is we give them the opportunity to work that crowd, okay? So and it's a competitive market, right? So if you're not actively engaging with those customers, you will get either forgotten or someone else is out there trying to get that from you. That, it's like a turf war, right? If you're sleeping all the time, somebody's going to go grab that market share from you. So we don't give them any expectations. What we do is we ask them, what's in it for the customer, and what do you got planned to do this? So if there's nothing that's really in it for the customer, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Because what's the point? We've the guys are already in there smoking cigars, coming in and spending money. So you got to have something you got to have something in it for the customer. Yeah.
No, I agree with that 100%.
So, but I know what you're saying, where events can be tough in a store where there's, you got to look at it through the manufacturer's lens too. There's expenses in doing this, right? You got to send a guy, you got hotels, you got travel, you got everything else. And if there's only 6 or 8 guys there, that's not you're going to lose money. So they've got to do it where they know that they can cover their costs. So with us, yeah. And then we're also, there's not a whole lot of startup brands that we can work with that, because it's just too competitive inside our stores. Most startups need to build up some traction outside of our stores. I don't mean like outside in front trying to poach our customers, but in the market outside. Yeah. So if it does get some traction, then then it's got enough consumer demand where we can bring it in. But our stores is incredibly difficult for a new startup company to get any traction at all, just because for people that haven't been to Corona Cigar, there's a tremendous amount of cigars. It's aisles and aisles and aisles. So it's like walking into a Walgreens, that type of shelves full of cigars. So imagine if you got a new brand that's just sitting there, the customers, they're going to overlook it. They're going to go past the tried and trues, the stuff that they've been smoking, and there's so many great cigars out there. So it's really tough. It can be done though. It can be done. But it's tough. But listen, all business is that way. I was recently I was talking to a friend of mine. I was at a SWAT team competition here in Orlando, and they had all the trade booths set up with all the weapons that are for military and for police and SWAT and stuff. And I must have saw there had to be 20 booths that were selling handguns for law enforcement, right? And I was like, shit, they all look the same. They're all, there's not. I just like, man, this is really competitive, right? So how do you, it's got to be tough to get your firearm in the hand of a police department when there's a bunch of different good choices, right? So it's not just cigars; it's every business competitive, and we're seeing that now, big time in the liquor industry too. There's the growth is leveled off and actually started to decline a little bit on that. So now you got big companies that are really fighting to maintain market share. So it's going to be really hard for startups to get a foot in there. The startups work when there's shortages from the more established brands. That's when it's the best environment for them. You got a window of opportunity to get in there, and a lot of people did. And the same thing with the cigar business. If you look at it when I started, it was in 1996. Nick Perdomo got his start then. Pete Johnson got his start after that. Aganorsa got his start after that. Pepin got his start after that. Drew Estate came after that. Saka came after that. Nick Milano. I can go down the list, right?
Yeah.
These guys didn't exist before the boom. But right now, because we're at a very stable marketplace, you're not going to see that many new companies get a foothold in there because it's harder. It's just more competitive unless there was a shortage where you've got, people have some shelf space to put those brands on. Right now, this is the other part people don't understand. There's only one way to get a new brand on the shelf. There's only one way. Another brand has to go.
Yeah.
So that means someone else whose cigars might be an established brand or one that's been out there longer that just isn't selling and turning enough. That brand's got to go in order to make the shelf space for the other one. So that's why it's really, really competitive.
Now, I think we've talked about this before, but just remind me because I apologize, I don't remember. But as far as cigar brands, if you go to any of the Corona Cigar brick and mortar locations, are the same brands roughly, aside from just out of stock at one location, are the same brands and facings going to be available at all? The same?
Pretty much. Okay. There is, we give all of our managers 100% leeway on that to make decisions though. So each location, they do velocity reports, and if they got certain things that aren't moving there, they got to come out and other items can go in. So you may have some stores that have a little more of a following of certain brands than others. So that's not that unusual. Not when you're talking about, remember, we're in different cities. We got Tampa, we got Orlando, you got Sarasota. So you'll see some differences.
So we've been talking about cigars, but you hit on something earlier. You're involved in politics.
Yes.
What'd you think about the last 41 days shutdown?
Oh.
It was total politics, 100%. And the losers on that were the American people. It was not, that shutdown shouldn't have been, should never happen. I mean, at the end of the day, it was a continuing resolution. It was not anything new. It's the same thing that had been passed 13 times prior by the Democrats before they got in there. So all of a sudden, you're shut down the government over it. That was a very strange one, but it was 100% political. But it'll shake out. It'll work out.
Do you think that it's fair that the government workers don't get paid, but
they do get their pay back?
They do.
Yeah,
but
the
during
hard
that
part
shutdown, they didn't. But the politicians did get paid during that shutdown.
Yeah, and that's wrong. They shouldn't be getting paid either. Okay. There's no reason they should get. And that it's actually disgusting that they do get paid. But listen, those guys don't need the money. They don't need it. No. You kidding me? These guys go in. You have to do a financial disclosure when you put your name in the hat to run for politics, right? You have to disclose your net worth. They make $165,000. It might be a little more than that. I think they gave themselves a raise not too long ago, but they don't get paid that much, right? At the end of the day, they go in there worth, $500,000 net worth, and 5 years later they're worth $25 million, making $165,000 a year.
Yeah.
Where do you think that money comes from?
Lobbyists.
No. It's illegal to do that. The lobbyists can't. No, that money comes through different ways.
They make the introductions, though.
There's so many crooked things. Why do you think they're panicking when Doge got in there and started cutting off like NGOs and all this other stuff and all these nonprofits?
Some some quote unquote nonprofit says, "Hey, so and so senator, come to our event on July 11th or whatever." I'm just making it up. Come to our event on July 11th and do a speech, and we'll pay you $7 million to speak for 30 minutes. It's like, what?
Or their wife has a nonprofit where they have a nonprofit, and that's how money is moved around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And things have gotten so easy to move money around now with the cryptocurrencies. And I'm a crypto guy. I love cryptocurrency. Yeah, and there's a reason for that, because they've debanked this. The cigar industry was part of that debanking thing. I was a guy that got debanked over cigars back in when Obama was president. I had my bank accounts closed because I fell into a SIC category, which is tobacco. And they went after certain categories. Tobacco was one of them. Firearms was another. Gold dealers were another. Payday lenders were another one. Online gambling was another category. So they had certain categories they were going after, and I got hooked because our we're a tobacco dealer. So I know about banking, and that's why crypto came on the scene, and that's why Trump's got behind crypto so much, because as soon as he got out of office, they cut his banking off. So these guys have big business, and they're like, listen, we got to find an alternate to this where we're politically motivated. You send the FDIC, or in my case, the Federal Reserve was going after SunTrust for anybody that did tobacco, and they actually went after pawn shops too. So these are real scenarios, right? So anyway, the whole thing, that's why Doge. That's why so many politicians were freaking out over Doge, and that USAID shut it down. And the reason I brought crypto in is because you guys remember that Sam Brinkman-Fried guy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That whole thing, that was 100% money laundering operation.
Oh, yeah.
When you send billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine, you send a little bit to the weapons, but there's a whole bunch of that comes right back. And that's that's why do you think they're all voting to send money there? That's why they didn't want the war to end. So but it goes on and on. It's the same thing with the human trafficking, all that. It's all money. It's money, 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 money. That's the root.
And it's getting difficult because there's so much. The world's just busy, and just talking about the United States, the country is busy, and there's so much stuff going on, and keeping enough law enforcement, not just local law enforcement, but the heavy investigators like the FBI and the NSA and things like that. We even have this thing going on right now that we're sort of, the truth and everything is starting to come out about it, and indictments are being sent out now for this. There's this group of restaurants, and I use that term loosely, in the Twin Cities area that were, claiming to participate in this Meals for Children program. Yep. And claiming to serve like 6,000 meals a day from each location or something like that. And the FBI set up cameras, and it turns out that an average over the course of like 18 months, an average of 23 people went into each location. So, and they were getting just insane billions of dollars was changing hands from these people saying, "Oh yeah, we're feeding, needy children," and all, and none of it was happening.
That's where they play on humanity's kindness, and the criminals know that, and that's why that whole NGO nonprofit. It's the same thing with the homeless situation. It's the same thing with the drugs. It's all about these people are like, they're farmed, and that's what it's about. That's why you can throw billions of dollars at the homeless situation, and in California, you actually have more homeless people. Why? Because they make money off. They have to set up a nonprofit that's supposed to feed the homeless in there, and then they'll say, "All right, yeah, we'll set up a truck that puts a little food out." But when they do that, they're actually, for every dollar they spend on food, there's $20 that are being skimmed off the side, and that's layer upon layer upon layer. And it's not just that; it's every layer of government. I don't care what it is, Medicare, the whole thing. There's fraud left and right. That's why do you think they were freaking out so much when Elon Musk started looking at stuff? When you had more people with Social Security numbers than there are people in the whole country, and people that were 200 or 300 years old, and people that weren't even born yet. Those numbers are farmed. This is all, but we'll see what happens. The reason why it's going to be hard why people get away with this. All right, you got to understand. There's if you're a lawyer, and this is why I say this is what happens in politics too. If you're conservative, you tend to stay out of other people's business. You don't necessarily want to work for the government because you just want to, like, hey man, I'm just on a, my own course in life here, whatever. Whereas if you're, a real left winger, you want to tell everybody what to do. Hey, you can't smoke that cigar. Hey, you can't have that whiskey. Hey, you need to do this. You need to do that. You need to drive a car that's electric. You need to do that. They like telling people, whereas conservatives like, we're more of a freedom thing of this small government, let people make up their own decisions. So more people get involved in government that are more left-wing than conservative. That's why there's a big imbalance. So when if you look at like Department of Justice or FBI and things like that, most guys that get out of law school that are conservative want to build their own practice. They want to have their own law firm. They want to have their own law office. They don't say, "Hey, I want to go work for the government."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why there's such a problem, why it's so hard. And the way the government works, by the way, whether it's the regulatory agencies, because I dealt with the FDA a lot, FDA, EPA, whatever, these people are they can't be fired, right? They got tenure. And so they're like, we'll just wait the administration out. We're fine. We'll just kind of, say we're working on something. And, that's why when Elon Musk talked about how many people don't even show up to work, he's like, just reply to an email, say, and he asked them what they did all week. He's like, I wasn't really looking at what they did. I just wanted to see how many people even answer emails.
Yeah.
How many people actually even show up to work. And that was another big scam. So, people don't like to hear it that don't want to hear it, but.
No, I hear what you're saying. I had this weird idea a few years ago that I really only talked to a couple, close family members or friends about it. And it's, we all have these ideas about, the way the country should run or whatever that pop into our heads. And I thought to myself, okay, so there's things that need to get paid for in the United States that are kind of what I think most people would consider non-negotiables, like infrastructure, national defense, and a few other just must-haves. And then there are others that I think if you polled most people in the United States, they'd say, okay, all the ones in this group are things that, I think are on a kind of opinion basis. Like, I think we should do that. And some people are going to say, I think we should do that. Other people are going to say, I think we shouldn't. So my idea is, and I don't know shit about any of this. It's just an idea, but you set a 20% or I don't know, 15 or 20% flat tax rate across the board for every single United States citizen, period. Unless you're in the ultra, low poverty levels and but, for everybody who's, above the poverty level, flat 15 or 20% tax rate, whatever. And you say, okay, of those taxes that you're paying, and let's say somebody's tax burden for the year is, let's just, for the sake of a round number, let's say it's $100,000. Now, 70% of that 100,000, so 70,000 is going to go to the non-negotiables, national defense, infrastructure, like roads, interstates, bridges, that kind of thing. The other 30%, that other $30,000 is set up in some kind of and I'm just using this term because a lot of people know it. It's sort of like a GoFundMe kind of approach, where you get a list of all the programs that are out there, and you get to choose if you want to throw 10,000 here or 5,000 there, or the whole 30,000 extra to whatever. And each American gets to choose on their own which of those other programs they want to put that final 30% towards. That's, I don't know. I could be an absolute nut bar, and it could be a ridiculous, stupid notion, but it just seems to me that if we just gave Americans the choice on what they're going to use that last 30% of their tax burden for, then the cream will rise to the top. I don't know. Like I said, I could be completely off base on it.
That'll never happen. Herman Cain tried to push the flat tax for a long time when he ran for president too. It just never got traction. And then the other part about people deciding where the money goes, that they won't do that because the politicians are the ones that are, they're supposed to be our representatives. Right? That's why it's called the House of Representatives, right?
They represent themselves.
Exactly. And that's where the lobbying groups come in. We discovered how bad the cigar industry was, the position we were in when the S-chip, the cigar tax came out in 2007, where we were going to get taxed $10 per cigar. And we just realized, wow, that's when all of us kind of learned, because the cigar industry really didn't have to play around too much with federal politics. But then, then you see that these tax codes are written by lobbyists. And so that's why that stuff will never change. That part's not going to change. But even if that doesn't change, that's not where that's not where the biggest problems. Right now, there's just massive fraud, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse because if criminals, these are criminal organizations, the way this is done, and if it's white collar crime, and if it keeps going without punishment, there's no deterrent to stop it, and so that's why there always used to be some Medicare fraud, Medicaid fraud. Miami was a real hotbed for that for a long time, but now it's just gotten to everything from homeless fraud to drug addiction fraud to clean energy fraud to climate change fraud to these NGOs. And I mean, that's why when they read off these crazy things, like who would have said they're going to send whatever $100 million for gender studies in Nigeria? You're like, where did this come from? How did that happen, right? And it's like, it's not even our country, and it's like, that's how, because it's all part of that really doesn't go to gender studies. That's just where it's put. That's just the title of it. That money gets skimmed away. The guy in Nigeria gets a cut, and half of it comes right back to the guy that made it pass. So again, you just got to follow the money. How do you start off with a net worth of $500,000, and then 5 years from now you're worth $145 million?
So do you think any of that money gets siphoned out to our military or to our CIA or FBI for special programs?
All of the above. But like I said, it was funny when all you got to do is really listen to Elon Musk's interviews after he went through Doge, and he really got scared. After about 2 months, he's like, when I say he got scared for his life. He's like, I got to back off a little bit of this because this is bipartisan and it goes deep.
Yeah.
So,
well, and kind of in the same, although it's it's not specifically talking about government programs, but government policies from that kind of standpoint is, all the talk that's been going around, honestly, for a while about tariffs, specifically as it relates to countries like Nicaragua and the cigar industry. So, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? And what are your thoughts on the whole tariff situation with, Nicaragua or anywhere for that matter?
Okay. So because we get 1/3 of our cigars in the industry out of Nicaragua right now, this is a big issue. So there's a reason that Nicaragua got 18%, Dominican Republic, Honduras got 10%. Is because there's been issues with Nicaragua, and there's been issues in the past. And Daniel Ortega's been there for, I think he's on 18 or 20 years. He keeps changing the rules of how long someone can serve. Now I think his wife's going to run, and this is the same Daniel Ortega that was the leader of the country when the Sandinistas had control and it was a communist country. So. But I don't think America really cares that much about Nicaragua. What the real issue is, the reason why that 100% tariff is being floated right now is because the issue, this is what Trump campaigned on this, right? Was about taking out the narco terrorists that are out there. Fentanyl is a big deal for Trump, as it should be. There's a lot of Americans getting killed by this stuff. Mm-hmm. There's nobody out there that can say, I used to, when I was younger, I used to play that Desert Storm, these video games, and then all of a sudden, and I thought it was cool because we actually were fighting Desert Storm, so it was like a real game, kind of like real scenario, right? And Tom Clancy stuff, right?
Yeah.
So then anyway, I noticed a shift where all of a sudden zombie games became popular. I'm like, what the hell are these zombie games for? Why are you going to war with zombies? It's like, this is like fiction. If anybody has driven or walked through one of these areas of where the I call it the free drug zones, where there's just miles of people that are in a zombie state. The worst I ever saw was in Vancouver, Canada, but I saw it in Anchorage, Alaska. I saw it in Seattle. I saw it in Portland. I saw it in San Francisco. So these zombie apocalypse zones in Philadelphia as well, where in Vancouver's the worst. There was probably about, I don't know, 2,000 people within a 1.5 mile stretch all around Chinatown. If you really want to see something interesting, just go to TripAdvisor, look up Vancouver, Canada, and Chinatown. So like you want to go visit Chinatown. Because Chinatown has been in part of that West Coast, historic, right? Look at the reviews. It'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
So I went there. I went there with my kids, and I said, let's go check this out. And it was just like one of those zombie games. Thousands of people on the street, totally drugged out of their mind. I guarantee there's dead people mixed in with the people that are laying on the floor. Because, and so you see that zombie state. Well, that's happening, and a lot of good people are dying. It's like, how's this, this is not good. So Trump was dead serious about this. He's like, this fentanyl is killing more Americans than anything. So when he got elected, yeah, he's going hardcore. And that's why he's taking on he declared the cartels narco terrorists. Now, this is how it goes into Nicaragua. Nicaragua's not a narco state. But Venezuela is, Colombia is, and Mexico is. So now, that's why you see this action about the Coast Guard and the U.S. Navy really engaging and taking out these drug boats. Maduro, back when when Trump was elected prior in his first term, he had a State of the Union where he had the gentleman that they say won the election in Venezuela. He had him in the gallery, he had him stand up and give him a standing ovation. So that was during Trump 1.0. So Trump 2.0. And Maduro was supposed to leave, but then he didn't. So now we're in Trump 2.0. The drug shipments have gotten way up. The cartels were in. Remember, what's Trump's thing? He wants to stop the human trafficking. Stop that, right? The cartels were involved in that as well. So that's why this war against the cartels is real. And if you notice, last month, who won the Nobel Peace Prize? The what they call the legitimate president of Venezuela. That's not by accident. That was in order to get her on the national stage because they want her to replace Maduro. Now that may or may not happen though. There's another person that the CIA wants to have in there instead. But at the end of the day, regime change is going to happen in Venezuela. So what's the signal that Trump puts out to those other countries? He lets them know, like before he took up his oath of office, the president of Honduras said she wasn't going to take any illegals back. Same thing with the president of Colombia and Venezuela. And Trump went straight at him, right for the jugular. He's like, you're taking your people back, or else we're cutting this off and this off and this off, right? So they started taking the people back. What they're trying to do is position Nicaragua to make sure that wherever Maduro leaves, if he leaves peacefully or if he doesn't leave, there's going to be some accesses, some coalitions, whether it'll be Cuba, Venezuela, and who else, right? They're putting out a strong signal to Nicaragua to stay out of it. That's why the 100% tariff is being floated. Now, as someone who gets a ton of cigars from Nicaragua, we're worried about that because the next step, this can get a lot worse. It can go to a full-blown embargo. Because if you start having where they have let's say a war breaks out and you start having people taking sides and Nicaragua takes a side of Cuba and Venezuela, you're going to see a flat-out embargo against Nicaragua. And that's the worst-case scenario. Right. But this is what Trump does. He always lays it out so they know you got two paths. It's like what he did for Kim Jong-un. He's like, we can either have this end badly or you can have it end good. Stop firing the rockets and, open your country up to tourism. Remember, he's telling them you could have all these nice hotels on the beach and everything else. He's trying to entice them with a carrot instead of a stick. That's what this tariff situation in Nicaragua, it has nothing to do with anything about cigars or jobs or anything like that. It's just saying, hey, when this Maduro thing goes down, if Venezuela happens, you got to stay out of it. And if the narco, the cartels say, hey, Nicaragua, we want you to be the new jump off point for us, stay out of it. Because if you do, there's going to be a problem. That's why these, everything's being laid out here. Those are the tea leaves. And so we'll see how it works out. If we have if it goes the bad route of confiscation of factories and embargoes, that's the worst scenario, right? which is possible though. Now, full disclosure, I tried to go to Nicaragua earlier. I used to be going there since 1998. I'm not allowed in the country, and I never spoke ill of Nicaragua, and I never spoke ill of Daniel Ortega, the president. But you can look it up on Reddit. You can just search in Google, being banned from travel to Nicaragua. There's a whole list. Anybody that worked for NATO, for the United Nations, worked for any governments, anybody that was involved in priests, any nonprofits, any NGOs, people that are a part of the press. These people are not allowed in the country right now. If you're Nicaraguan and you left the country, a lot of those people haven't been allowed back in the country, and now business people are on that. I guess I'm on the business side, right? And they're using, again, this is on Reddit. You can see where they talk about it. They're using an AI algorithm that's run by the Cuban intel agency and lets them know it's like a social credit score. And that's how you get popped where you can't go to the country. So I've been trying to warn people that this is a dicey situation, and just, obviously I got nothing to do with it or any influence over where, it's their own. I believe government should decide what they want. Ortega might be the best thing for that country. Who knows? But you don't want to have, your supply of disrupted. We don't, so we have to look at what happens if we lose Nicaragua as a cigar producing country. There's going to be some major price increases, shortages.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good for the business. So I hope things work out. We'll see where it goes. But that right now is probably the biggest question mark facing the cigar industry.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So we should hold on to our Nicaraguan cigars if we have them in our collections.
Yeah, your favorite Nicaraguan cigars.
Here's the thing, though. I think, honestly, the way most of this works out, Daniel Ortega is a smart guy. And I personally think that if he went against the U.S. and lined up, because he knows it's going to cause him problems, he doesn't want half his country the North is where all the cigars are made.
Yeah.
It's not good for him to have this happen. He's going to have a lot of unemployed people and when you are, whether you're a dictator or whatever, if you want to remain the guy in charge of the country, you got to keep your people fed and keep them working, right? So it's not in his best interest for that. But you have to understand, cartels can be very persuasive. That's why when you look at, in Nicaragua or in Mexico, where if somebody says a politician starts getting any traction that's going against cartels, you find his head on rolling down the street, literally. And that's, so these guys, you don't know what kind of pressures could be put on that country too.
Yeah. True.
So that's the deep dive.
Yeah. No, we appreciate that.
So speaking about heads rolling down the street, is it time?
You took the words right out of my mouth. I think it is definitely time for this week's
Numero de los Muertos. We were a little off there.
So yeah, the delay is, it's cool. It's all good. All right, so the number this week is approximately 70,000 people die from this in the United States every year.
How many?
Year. 70,000.
70,000.
70,000?
Yes.
Every year. Is it disease related?
It is not related.
Is it crime related?
It is not crime related.
Fentanyl from David Floyd.
It is fentanyl.
Wow.
It is fentanyl.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
funny. We were just talking about
David,
that.
David Floyd got it right. So crime related, technically yes, but
yes,
no. So that's why I said
you
that.
You said that's every week.
That's every year.
Every year.
And that's an average across the last. So they only have good numbers through the end of 2023, and 2024. It's looking like the numbers are going to be roughly the same. But roughly over the last 6-ish years, they've averaged between 65 and 72,000 every year. And
it's probably gone up this year.
Yeah.
So let me put this in perspective, though.
Yeah.
So you look at in 10 years at 700,000 people. Mm-hmm. That's the size of that's more than the size of the greater Orlando area, the entire population.
Yeah.
That's probably that's probably
how
3
many
counties combined.
And how many other lives are affected by those overdoses or those deaths?
Oh yeah.
Now we know personally.
Well, how many people died from selling it or died from distributing it, but they didn't die from taking it.
Mm-hmm.
So the actual number is probably far, far greater. Or how many people died, just like Jeff was talking about a little bit ago? How many people died just because somebody held a gun to their head and forced them to carry it across the border? Or
so what's interesting about this is that we have a location in downtown Orlando, right? So everything around us there's literally Orange Avenue, which is our main street, is a lot of nightclubs and bars. And then there were people dying from fentanyl, but they didn't know they were taking it. It's cheaper to juice up some drugs with fentanyl than anything else. So then they came out with Narcan, which saved a lot of people. But then I've been told by some law enforcement guys that they're making this fentanyl where it's even stronger, where the Narcan's not being effective. So yeah, who knows? It's really sad.
Well, and Raul, since Raul's a firefighter, he can speak to that. Raul, you've probably, how many dozens of people over the years, or hundreds of people over the years, have you either administered or seen Narcan administered to them?
We probably get 2 to 3 overdoses a week at our station, if not more.
Yeah.
So we're passing it out weekly. We have a Narcan machine in front of our fire station. Can you believe that?
I do believe that. They actually wanted the bars to carry it.
Yeah.
So they want the bars to carry Narcan?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And we don't have that problem at our place, obviously, but there was a push for the bars to actually have it on staff on the premise.
Now they're putting horse tranquilizers, elephant tranquilizers in their heroin and their fentanyl to mix it up to give them better highs. It's ridiculous what they're mixing up these days. And you guys know about my personal experience about it. It's just crazy that it's fucking nuts. That's all. It's nuts.
Yeah. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. Yeah, it's just one of those things that there's no easy solution, but there's also everybody's just got to keep talking about it and keep the lawmakers, and the lawmakers have to free up law enforcement to do something about it.
Yeah.
Because it's something has to be done about it. And I realize that comes with a lot of intricacies, and it's got to be done the right way, but you put the right people in there and it's going to get done the right way. And you got to let law enforcement enforce the law, period. Yeah. That's my take on it. You got to let law enforcement enforce the law and train them properly so they do it the right way.
Yeah. And you got to speak to your kids and your family members about not even trying it once, not even getting.
Yeah, don't
stay away from all of it. Just
don't touch it.
You know, don't touch it, not even once.
And be that family member or that friend for somebody who is struggling with addiction, and get them, and get them help.
Yeah.
Be that, what I've talked about this over many, many years, even before How About That Cigar, that everybody should have that, what I call a 3 a.m. friend, where if shit just goes sideways, that person you can call at 3 o'clock in the morning, and be each of us needs to have a 3 a.m. friend, and each of us needs to be that 3 a.m. friend to somebody, where they can, no questions asked, 3 o'clock in the morning, shit goes sideways. Hey, I need you to come pick me up. I'm in a bad place. I need you to come pick me up. And you can save somebody just by getting them out of a bad spot that they're about to make a bad decision. And if we can do that for somebody, I'd say it's worth it to lose a couple hours sleep.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, that was this week's
Numero de los Muertos.
All right, so I never did hear from Dax in the comments, but the reveal for this week's Spirit of Mystery is
goodness.
It's still a mystery. I have no idea what it is, but it's delicious. It's a really nice bourbon. I think it might actually be a rye, an American rye, but it's absolutely fantastic. And like I said, I'm 90% sure that Dax gave this to me, and I'm 90% sure that he told me it's some form of stag. But as we all know, how many different iterations of stag are there? 200. I mean, it's just there's a lot. So, but that was, it's a very good pour. So thank you, Dax, for that. Much appreciated. And that was this week's Spirit of Mystery. Now, Jeff, you've been on the show a number of times, and so you've had most of our, old school, original lightning round questions, but we're always digging up fresh, new lightning round questions.
And who are those brought to us by?
Oh yeah, and the lightning rounds brought to us by J.C. Newman Cigar Company, America's oldest family-owned premium cigar maker, creators of the popular Brick House, Perla Del Mar, Diamond Crown, and the American. J.C. Newman Cigar Company operates out of their 114-year-old El Reloj Cigar Factory in historic Cigar City, Tampa, Florida. For more information on their cigars or visitor experience, please visit jcnewman.com. All right. So I'm going to start with this one, Jeff. If suddenly the scientific ability or the power to teleport yourself anywhere in the world was possible, where would be the first place you would teleport yourself to?
In the same time frame, like
right now, this moment in time, you could teleport to any place else on the earth. And let's say you could bring your family with you.
If I could teleport there, I'd probably like to visit Antarctica. It'd be a quick way to get there in the summertime coming in there. So I'd probably I wouldn't mind checking that place out.
Are you like trying to prove that the Earth's not flat or something, or what?
No, but there are some crazy stuffs about that. Yeah, go down the rabbit hole of what's underneath the Antarctic ice caps.
There's probably a lot of podcasts out there already about the whole flat Earth thing. All right, so Jeff, if you were given your own late night talk show and you were the host, and the premiere episode is coming up, what celebrity or notable person do you want to be the first guest on your late night talk show?
Well, I'd say the biggest, you'd pull the most with either Donald Trump or Elon Musk.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Raul just is Raul not talking anymore?
No, it would have to be Trump. I thought. Even
Oh,
before
yeah,
he said
yeah,
it, I said it had to be
I
Trump.
wasn't sure if you were doing a timeout or what.
No.
Like you had to go, go to the bathroom or something. I didn't know
No.
what was going on.
It's got to be Trump right now. It's got to be Trump.
That or Elon though, because Elon's got. If you just watch his Joe Rogan interviews, the from the very first one he ever did to the ones now, there's some really interesting stuff in there, and I'm convinced that there's a bunch of stuff that he doesn't even talk about, especially when it gets to the. I think he's seen the future.
Oh, really?
I do, because if you listen to him talk about this stuff, and like you look. My headphones said the battery's low, so let me know if they stop working. But anyway, especially when he talks about like AI and robotics and stuff, and our generation, we had the Terminator and stuff, and you watch Terminator 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
There is a lot of pre-programming going on in that, and then also, he's working on that Neuralink, and when he talks about brains merging with supercomputers and the way you communicate. And if you watch Total Recall was kind of that same kind of thing too, where they were planting memories in your brain, and they're working on this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
and they're being kind of coy about how far they're coming. So if you start getting in there's some really wild stuff there. And I do believe when I say he's seeing the future, that's why he's so hardcore on this interplanetary species.
Yeah.
That, I didn't grow up watching Star Trek or even that much Star Wars or whatever, but I think there's something to what's going on here.
Yeah.
Maybe he just took some good peyote.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. All right, so Jeff, is there a food that you absolutely hated as a kid that you love today?
I still hate his liver, man. I don't. Man.
I'm with you, brother.
I never. Yeah, that's what strikes. That's about the only thing I remember as a kid. I couldn't stand. I still don't like it.
Yeah,
it's really good for you. It's really good for you.
I know it is, but I don't know. That Liver King dude has lost his mind, though. I think he's going crazy. But
that's probably from the growth hormones.
That's the HGH and the steroids more than the liver, I think.
Yeah, because he's definitely. I don't know if you ever saw his videos where he said he was going to go kill Joe Rogan and stuff.
Oh yeah,
that was some.
He wants to fight
shit.
Joe Rogan. Yeah.
He's on all fours like a gorilla, walking on the ground and all that stuff. He's like nuts. But anyway, yeah.
I think the HGH seeped into his cerebral cortex a little too much.
Damn.
All right, let's jump into notable smokables. Each week, each of us talks about a cigar we smoked recently that was notable to us. Now, this could be a cigar that has been on the market for decades that we revisited for the first time in a very long time, or this could be a cigar that's brand new to the market that we tried for the first time ever. So, Jeff, is there something you smoked recently, whether it's new or old, that just really stood out to you recently?
Yeah, so there's a Undercrown that's like a 7x54. It was in one of the Barn Smoker packs I had from last year, actually. And that was a really good cigar. And I don't smoke too many of a lot of the Ligas and stuff like that from Drew Estate a little strong. And Undercrown isn't quite as strong. But there was a 7x54, so it's probably a double Corona size. And that was a lot that surprised me. I really enjoyed it.
Nice. Raleigh, what was notable for you this week?
Probably the Mi Career Tricky Traca.
Okay.
I haven't smoked one in a while, and I stopped at Perfect Ash on the way down last week and grabbed a bunch of Saka from him, and I just smoking that on the way down, knowing what I was coming down to do and relax and hunt. It just tasted right.
Nice. Justy, what about you?
I had the Snitches Get Stitches from Cigar Federation, like 2021 or something like that,
Snitches
buddy.
Get Stitches.
Yeah, Snitches Get Stitches.
Well, I don't know about the cigars, but I gotta say they got clever names for the cigars. You know, it's definitely clever names. You gotta give them that.
Yeah.
Mine was actually kind of a throwback. It's not a super old cigar or anything, but one that's been around for a while. The Winston Churchill Late Hour from Davidoff. Just, since the day it came out, it's been a cigar that I love, and this weekend is no different. I had one over the weekend, and that kind of roughly Toro size in that late hours, just so super good. So definitely love that one. All right.
On the new cigar, though, I did have a new cigar that was really, really good too. The Monte Cristo 90th anniversary.
I've heard really good things about that. Yeah.
That's a really good cigar. So that's one of the newer ones that I like last month was the first time I had it. That's a really good cigar.
And I think Dax chimed in the comments about Spirit of Mystery. Yes. JR Batch 15.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm guessing, Dax, that's what's in this glass right now. So I have to say thank you again, brother, and I apologize. I didn't label the bottle as soon as you gave it to me. I just
Spirit of Mystery.
Totally forgot to. Totally forgot to do that.
Mystery over.
Mystery solved.
So my ear pods went dead. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I got your volume already up. You're good.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So coming attractions next Monday night. And this show next Monday night, just to give everybody an idea, is going to actually be at a slightly earlier time than our normal show. So next Monday night, the show is going to start at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And that is none other than Pedro Gomez from Drew Estate, one of our favorite guests to have on the show. And then November 24th, it's Boofy, baby. Matt Booth from Room 101 back on the show on November 24th. And then a couple more shows after that. So, Jeff, brother, not only do we want to thank you for being on episode 308, we want to thank you for genuinely being our number one most loyal and dedicated and kind sponsor over all these years, brother. You have, I say this, not to, I just truly, genuinely, from like a logistical standpoint and from the bottom of our hearts, you have kept our lights on for the last, I want to say, 6 years, because
thank you, brother. Thank you.
You joined us as our lead studio sponsor. I want to say it was 5 or 6 years ago, brother. And you have kept our lights on, and you have kept us in the cigar media business. And we cannot thank you enough. And that thanks comes from not only us, but from every person who has ever watched or listened to an episode of How About That Cigar, brother. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I do that for a reason. I'm a big believer and supporter of the independent media, right? And you guys are the independent cigar media. And I remember, I just got a story I was on the IPCPR board of directors back in like 2009. And there was a lot of pushback from certain people, like, because they didn't know what to make of podcasts and the independent guys versus the traditional print publications. And I was always of the belief that every voice for the industry is a good voice, because for so many years we were just working against the lies that the anti-tobacco people used to talk about us. And I'm like, and so we're trying to spread the word. They always had us lumped in cigars, Marlboro, cigarettes, big things. So when you and everybody else started doing this independent media, I was like, these guys are very, very important. And it's what builds the industry and brings it's new. It's a new. Cigars are more than just smoking a cigar, right? It's a lifestyle, right? And I saw that early on, and I'm like, I want to support all the independent guys I can, because it's good. It's good. And the other part is, I had been asked numerous times to do my own show with even the syndicated radio shows out here in Orlando and stuff. And I'm like, there's a major commitment to doing that. Going to us, this is even before really the podcast took off. You did, have to go down to the radio studio and every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, I don't want to have to do that, because I've got, my passion is not that. My passion is the cigar stores and in the agriculture side. So I'm like, well, I want to support guys that do it, because I know how much work it is. I know how much work it is. I know how much time it takes. I know the dedication it takes. And so I appreciate, the years that you guys have done this, because unless people have done this type of thing themselves, they don't realize the grind that goes into it. And so that's why I like supporting. I appreciate what you guys have done. And, I totally understand your decisions and what you want to do in the future, but I just want to thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it, brother. It means the world to us. And a lot of, we're going to talk about this on our last show a little bit too, but a lot of really great, not just information about cigars, wrapper, binder, filler. That's all great. And we love all that. That's, learned about, how this seed has grown and all that. But the stories from people in the cigar business, the stories from the actual people, stories about how they fell in love with tobacco, and stories about their families, and what their families went through and what their families overcame to become part of the world of premium cigars. Us bringing people on to How About That Cigar over the years to share those stories with viewers and listeners wouldn't have been possible without you. So God bless and thank you, brother. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, viewers and listeners.
Before that,
yeah.
Where's Jeff going to be found at? Where do you find you at?
Thank
Jeff?
you so much.
Before we got to close Jeff out first.
Yeah, give our viewers and listeners an idea. Where can they keep up with everything going on with Corona Cigar Company, with Florida Sun Grown?
So Facebook's probably the best place. It's nice not being put in jail in there anymore. I haven't been in Facebook jail in a long time, but that's.
Oh, we lost your audio, Jeff.
It's on.
There we go. Yeah, we're back now.
Okay. I was going to say, for personal stuff, Facebook is the best place. And then as far as like Corona Cigar, business-wise, I'd say coronacigar.com, and then get on our email list and just, check out our social media channels.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, brother.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Viewers and listeners, guys, thanks for being the best part of How About That Cigar Live. We appreciate you so much for being. I'll bring Raul back on. I want to say.
Oh, hi, Raul.
Yeah, we're going to keep Raul on for the end. We want to thank all our viewers and listeners for being the best part of How About That Cigar Live. We appreciate you guys so much hanging out with us on these Monday nights. If you would please make sure to follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. You'll find us at HBT Cigar. Click on all the big, beautiful buttons, the like button, the follow button, the subscribe button. If you have questions for us, you can email us on the website, howaboutthatcigar.com. And of course, until we see you guys next time, as always, burn cigars,
not bridges.
Thanks, guys. Any comments, opinions, viewpoints, or statements presented or uttered by guests on the HBTC podcast, HBTC live video streams, and all other media from HBT Media LLC are solely those of the individual and do not necessarily represent the opinions or viewpoints of How About That Cigar or its parent company, HBT Media LLC, any of our advertising partners, or the premium cigar industry. The primary purpose of How About That Cigar is to entertain and to encourage activity and growth within the community of people who enjoy or want to learn about the enjoyment of premium cigars.